Welcome to this month's edition of Okaloosa Eye on Crime. There is a lot going on locally in the law enforcement realm, and that means lots of opportunities for you to play a role in helping solve local crimes or find local wanted fugitives.
And in this month's edition, there are efforts underway to nab some pretty brazen jewelry burglars, find out who took tens of thousands of dollars worth of stolen bicycles, and also find plenty of people hiding out from the law. Let's get started. First up, the Crestview PD is trying to identify a credit card thief. The PD says it was trying to identify, in fact, two men reference a car burglary at Twin Hills Park on April 12th. And in that car burglary, the victim's ID and credit cards were stolen after they broke a car window. A heavy-set black male in a white t-shirt and white shorts used one of the victim's credit cards at GameStop, and a second card was used at Walmart. A thinly built, tall black male was seen with him wearing a white shirt with an unknown design on the front and black pants, as well as a black ball cap with a straight bill and an unknown design on it. Anyone with information, please contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers anonymously at 863-TIPS, emeraldcoastcrimestoppers.com, or of course via the P3 mobile app.
And next up, the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is investigating the theft of nearly 3 dozen high-end racing and triathlete bicycles from a storage facility over on Racetrack Road. The owners of Dragon Sports said they on April 22nd they went to check on the inventory that had temporarily been stored there on Beale Parkway. However, the bicycles, clothing, accessories, and tools were all missing. Now, the inventory is valued at tens of thousands of dollars. Investigators found signs of forced entry to the storage facility. They believe the merchandise may have been stolen between April 13th and April 22nd. So anybody with information about the theft of those bicycles, of course, you can contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers anonymously.
Now check out this great video by the Walton County Sheriff's Office. They provided this as they're searching for some jewelry thieves that were caught in the act by the store owner. Deputies responded to 12889 U.S. Highway 98 just before 11 p.m. on Saturday, April 29th. That's after they got a 911 call from the store's owner. The caller said he had fired an unknown number of shots and may have hit one of the suspects before they both fled the scene on foot. The video shows two of them wearing masks and hoodies, breaking in the door to gain entry, then using a hammer and a crowbar to break the jewelry display cases. To their surprise, the store owner interrupted the burglary and actually fired several shots. One subject exited the store, dropped or threw the pillowcase with the items he was attempting to steal, and he's then seen hobbling as he runs away again in the parking lot. So it is unknown at this time if he was shot or not, but if you have any information on these suspects, two white males, one may have sustained an injury from the incident and could be limping. So we'd want you to contact the Walton County Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers.
And that's some really great video they've got there. You can see from those surveillance cameras. Next up, the Fort Walton Beach Police Department is trying to identify this woman reference a theft that occurred at the Dollar General on Racetrack Road back on March 25th. This woman that you see on video or seen on video rummaging through the employees' purses. And then she thought she could also take their wallets as well. And she was wearing a green shirt, black pants, and black tennis shoes with what looks like red or pink shoelaces. So anybody with information, contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers or the Fort Walton Beach Police Department.
Next up, the man pictured here is suspected of forcing entry to the Gulf, a restaurant at 1284 Marler Avenue on Okaloosa Island on April 23rd. A Nikon camera, 2 iPads, and 3 bottles of liquor were taken from the restaurant. Any information? Contact us.
And our last case this month is for the Crestview Police Department that's trying to identify 2 men who attempted to burglarize Moulton's Pharmacy up on North Verdun Boulevard back on March 26th at about 2 a.m. in the morning. They attempted to break the front glass with a rock, then attempted to kick in the door. When that didn't work, they attempted to force entry through the back of the store. The only identifiable information is the Chicago Bulls bucket hat worn by one of the suspects, but you can see the photos there. Crestview Police would certainly like to know who attempted that burglary, so you can give us a call.
I would be willing to bet there's not that many people wearing Chicago Bulls bucket hats locally.
No, probably not in this area. You're right.
You never know.
Well, talking to a teacher recently at Destin Elementary School, she told us that she doesn't think School Resource Officer Deputy Sonia Shepard is the best. She knows it.
You're going to hear the same sentiment from the principal, from other staffers, from the teachers, and of course all those students that love her so much. You know, being an elementary school resource officer gives you a chance to protect our most vulnerable students, the little ones. And the best ROs know that they can make a lifelong impact on these young kids. And Deputy Shepard is one of those who's just making the most of that opportunity. There are kids from many different countries in the population of 1,000 students at Destin Elementary, but School Resource Officer Deputy Sonia Shepard says a hug is universal. She shares plenty of those each day and so much more.
And she's all about character building and doing the right thing. And it's just rewarding to see somebody so enthusiastic and committed to the mission as she is.
Okay. Have you guys studied anatomy yet?
I don't think she's the best. I know she's the best.
See, but we didn't see those before, did we?
You won't meet many elementary school SROs with a master's degree in counseling and psychology, but then you won't meet many SROs like Sonia Shepard, period. A former principal at a school for troubled kids and a deputy with 13 years experience, she has an extraordinary background and understanding for the task at hand. She's not just an impressive resume, though, she's a giver.
I just think every kid deserves a chance to grow up and be somebody. And that means that they have to feel safe and secure, and somebody has to recognize that they count and that they matter. You know, and I've been blessed with the opportunity to have people educate me all my life in various components that have come to play in this job. And so to me, it's like, you know, I have people here who are willing to listen and to implement those things that will give these kids the best fighting chance they have.
So there are no wasted teaching moments.
No bullying, because it's not nice to bully and it can hurt other people's feelings.
This little one's good character has earned her character coins, and she's been junior deputy for the day, two of many character building programs that Deputy Sonia, as they call her, oversees.
Those are what are going to get you ahead in life, you know, not how fast you can run, not how great you can draw or pretty you can sing. It's about what kind of person you are. And that's a really important opportunity that I get here. But more importantly, it's about the cohesion of letting them know they're safe so they can shine while they're here, and that they feel comfortable with the people who wear this uniform.
On the safety front, Deputy Sonia's built a team approach, educating students, teachers, and administrators on being aware of their surroundings and having a plan.
Her dedication, her willingness to do whatever she needs to keep us safe, making sure the teachers are doing what they're supposed to be doing, the kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and keeping us all together. She's kind of like our glue that holds us together at this school.
Being able to train the teachers on how to spot things and how to handle things in a way that's effective. It's like building a team of security around the school that wasn't there before.
But when you're a totally committed elementary school SRO, you also have these amazing opportunities to have a long-term impact on students individually and collectively, to influence their lifelong attitudes towards the men and women who put on a badge each day. She says society in general ultimately benefits by the role SROs can play in shaping those attitudes in a very positive fashion at a young age, letting students know law enforcement officers are their friends, and that's what drives her.
If there's ever a worse moment, the one that we never hope for, but if there ever is, that this kid or these families have to encounter, they feel trusting of law enforcement and will let us in to do our best job for them.
It goes to a level of care and compassion for the lives she touches each day, her willingness to go above and beyond to serve and protect at her school, her background and expertise that has brought her to this point in her career. All that sets her apart in the eyes of her students, parents, teachers, and administrators.
A lot of days she's the last one here. I mean, I typically leave around 5, and some days her car's still outside, and she's finishing up paperwork. She's making wellness calls to parents. She's following through on. So it's not just a, you know, the bell rings at 3 o'clock and I'm out of here kind of thing with her. A lot of days she's coming through here around 5 and say, well, I'm headed to an event at another high school. You know, they need extra support at a football game, and that's where she's headed. So it's not just about our school, it's about other schools, it's about community.
To me, that's the most important things, those relationships that you get to build that are consistent, you know, and that you know that you've made an impact in somebody's life for the better.
But let me tell you about Deputy Sonia, that she goes above and beyond. Not only is she there for the children love her, adore her, the parents do too, but the community at large. She makes our whole city safer. You know, children are an amazing key component of the community where we come from, as they are in every community. But when you have someone like Deputy Sonia that is at the helm, leading the protection charge, but also the encouragement charge, the safety charge, she serves in so many roles in our city. But at our school, Destin Elementary School, she's there every day for them. But in the city as a whole, I already feel safer when she's present, because not only do I feel like she's looking out for the kids of our city and for Destin Elementary School, but for the kids of the city. And so for me, I celebrate who she is, the gift she is not only to me as a friend, but to the city at large, and more specifically to every child that's ever come in contact with her. I guarantee you every one of them can leave with a testimony of how they felt safer and more honored because of her presence at Destin Elementary School, and for that I celebrate her today.
Next up, we're going to look at who's on the list of local fugitives that are wanted and that we want you to help us be on the lookout for.
That's right, and there's some familiar names, but there's also some brand new faces as well, and this is all as of today's taping date, of course, which is May 1st of 2017. And of course, we'd also like to remind you, Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers lets you provide anonymous information that can earn you a cash reward of up to $3,000 if it does lead to an arrest.
Yep, we make it easy. 850-863-TIPS, emeraldcoastcrimestoppers.com, or use that P3 Tips mobile application that so many people like so much. First up, Keon Kenneth Cooper is wanted for failure to appear for aggravated assault, child abuse, possession of a firearm or ammo by a convicted felon, battery on a law enforcement officer, I need to take a deep breath, trafficking in cocaine, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Cooper's last known address was on Dunwoody Place in Fort Walton Beach.
That's quite a list for that one.
Yes, it is.
51-year-old Jeffrey Alexander Turner, who's wanted for failure to appear for burglary, fraud, and criminal mischief.
Also searching for Chad Alford. Chad is 40 years old. He's wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for aggravated assault and causing the cruel death, pain, or suffering of an animal. Last known address, Powell Drive in Niceville. Take a good look at him.
38-year-old Michael Lee Folsom is wanted for possession of a controlled substance and possession of narcotics equipment, last known to live on Schaffner Avenue up in Crestview.
For me, staying over in Walton County, Jeffrey Brian Way, 46 years old, wanted by that agency for burglary and battery. Last known address for Jeffrey Brian Way was in Defuniak Springs.
Dennis Frederick Taylor Jr., who was last known to live on Brook Street in Fort Walton Beach, he's wanted for providing false statement to obtain unemployment compensation and failure to appear for fraud.
And the Walton County Sheriff's Office is also looking for Matthew Lewis Sparks. He's 28 years old. He's wanted for felony battery and depriving a victim of communication with law enforcement, which usually means taking their cell phone away from them.
William Brian Harnish is wanted for violation of probation for possession of a controlled substance and possession of drug paraphernalia, last known to live in Freeport.
Tiggy Andrew Frost. I'm taking a guess that that's it. Tiggy Andrew Frost, located thanks to a tip, so thank you so much to the tipster out there.
But we're still looking for Todd Eric Logan, who's wanted for uttering a forged bank note, last known to live out in Miramar Beach.
Moving now to Fort Walton Beach, Antonio Robinson wanted for violating probation, that is, on driving with a suspended license, possession of cocaine, unauthorized law practice, that's not one you see every day on the show, and grand theft, last known to live on Bayou View Drive in Fort Walton.
Last on our first list is 32-year-old Timothy James Howard. He's wanted for larceny, resisting officer and recovery of stolen property, and failure to appear for fraud, last known to live on Bear Head Road in Defuniak Springs. And we want to talk now about some of the things happening around our area in law enforcement. And business is booming at the Destin Fort Walton Beach Airport, and the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office has now taken over law enforcement security and services. Now, Okaloosa County Commissioners gave unanimous approval to the transition back in March.
And many of you will remember that the OCSO did the job from 1997 to 2011, but then the county decided to create its own internal airports police division. Current commissioners opted to transition back to the OCSO, which will also handle law enforcement security and services at the general aviation airports in Destin and Crestview, and the airports unit for the OCSO has 20 allocated positions.
There is an event on tap in May that serves as a tribute to fallen OCSO Deputy Tony Forgione. The 5th annual Memorial SWAT competition brings together teams to compete and network in Tony's memory, and at the same time raise money to benefit Northwest Florida cops or concerns of police survivors. Day
1, May 18th, takes place at the OCSO firing range, but then Day 2 at Northwest Florida State College is open to the public to come watch some of the competition events. This is all being hosted by the OCSO and Sheriff Larry Ashley, so you want to keep an eye out on the OCSO Facebook page and our Twitter account, and you can also help out out by purchasing raffle tickets for a fabulous local staycation. Just contact Sergeant Jeremy Gilbert or Norma Doria.
Dispatchers are typically the first voices you hear in an emergency or when you need help, and their abilities are an extremely critical component of public safety.
And that is a tough job. You know, they have to stay focused, they have to multitask during some extraordinarily stressful situations when lives can be at stake. Telecommunicators Week takes place once a year, and that's when across the entire country people take time just to say how much that they appreciate the contributions that dispatchers make.
And now let's move over to see some more faces of fugitives that are being sought by law enforcement agencies in Okaloosa and Walton counties. We give you 3 simple anonymous ways to contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers by phone, web, and of course by mobile tip.
And as always, you can earn a cash reward for that assistance, and you never have to give your name. And first up on this list is Stephen Sherman, 57 years old. He's wanted for extortion or threats and last known to live on Vinings Way in Destin.
Deputies are still searching for 21-year-old Lennon Wayne Harris. He's wanted for violation of probation and failure to appear for burglary, last known to live in Fort Walton Beach.
And we can take Aaron Odell off of the list because he has been located, and that is thanks to a tip.
But the Walton County Sheriff's Office is still looking for Pamela Shute. She's wanted for trafficking in controlled substance, possession of a controlled substance by misrepresentation, fraud, forgery, or deception, last known to live in Santa Rosa Beach.
Also still looking for Edward Lamont Fountain, wanted for failure to appear for carrying a concealed weapon, as well as possession of a weapon and ammo by convicted felon, possession of a controlled substance and narcotics equipment, and driving with a suspended license. Fountain's last known address was Wilson Street in Crestview.
And some more good news. Matthew Albert Beaupre, I'm assuming, the second, has been located since our last show.
But Joshua Godier has not. He's still wanted for violating probation for fraud, grand theft, and dealing in stolen property, last known to live on Wyndham Drive in Fort Walton Beach.
And a new face to the show is 24-year-old Tina Renee Blackwell, and she's wanted for failure to appear for aggravated battery, last known to live in Crestview.
Also looking for Nicholas Ronald William Weeks, wanted for VOP, possession of a weapon or ammo by convicted felon, last known address Defuniak Springs.
35-year-old Willie Maurice Floyd is wanted for coordinating in a retail theft over $3,000 and possession of anti-shoplifting control device.
And still searching for George Emmerich II. Emmerich's wanted for violating probation on charges of domestic violence, strangulation, and aggravated battery, and he's wanted by the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office.
Ivan Baramov, who's last known to live on Plough Avenue in Shalimar, he's wanted for violation of probation for grand theft.
And moving to the Fort Walton Beach Police Department, they're looking for David Brent Evans for credit card theft and fraudulent use of a credit card, but Evans' last known address was in Freeport in Walton County.
And deputies would really like to locate Alexis Wilmer Mondragon, I'm assuming that's how you say it. He's wanted by the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office for sexual battery, sex offense against a child, and lewd and lascivious molestation, last known to live on Spencer Drive in Fort Walton Beach, and he's been on the show for a while, so let's see if we can't find some information about where he is.
And next up is a counterfeiting case. Brittany Linnell Sanders is wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office. She has a VOP for creating, using, or possessing counterfeit credit cards with intent to use that counterfeit information.
And 63-year-old Georgia Emily Murray is wanted by the Fort Walton Beach Police Department for leaving the scene of traffic crash with injury and driving while license suspended or revoked. So when you're wrapping up your year as a school resource officer at Bruner Middle School, due to an agency promotion, why not show off some of your best dance moves?
Well, that's what OCSO Deputy Jason Foley did, and he also joined with some other Bruner staffers. They took advantage of a pep rally. It was his last time to do this, to dance, dance, dance to Justin Timberlake's Can't Stop the Feeling. We thought it was worth taking a look at, and in fact, the unedited version with the entire song and everybody from the school is on the OCSO YouTube page if you want to check that out.
And I think we can all agree that those were some great moves. We hope you enjoyed that video as much as we did.
Yes, and there's more of it, as we said, on the YouTube page, the OCSO page is the unedited version. And we just want to say best of luck to him. I know all the students at Bruner Middle School and all the folks there are going to miss Jason Foley for sure.
Absolutely. And now we're going to go to our third list of fugitives, and after that we're going to talk about all things crawfish. But first up is going to be Joshua James Pickard, who's wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for violation of probation for possession with intent to sell, manufacture, or deliver a controlled substance, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia, last known to live in Defuniak Springs.
And the charge facing Juan Ramon Marquez by the Fort Walton Beach Police Department is trafficking in stolen property. He's last known to live on Jonquil Avenue in Fort Walton Beach.
36-year-old Roderick James Rutterson Jr., who's last known to live on Mooney Road over in Fort Walton Beach, is wanted for possession of synthetic narcotics within 1,000 feet of a school and failure to appear for driving while license suspended or revoked.
And the Walton County Sheriff's Office is trying to track down Mark Robert Fitzgerald for grand theft and for contracting without a license.
And the Walton County SO is also looking for Edward J. Stanley for failure to appear for multiple counts of uttering a forged instrument and grand theft.
Still looking for Trejon Blunt, 29 years old. He's wanted for violating probation on 2 counts of dealing in stolen property, last known address in Fort Walton Beach.
30-year-old Charles Keith Wallace is wanted for possession of a controlled substance without a prescription.
Everett Hairston's wanted for grand theft auto VOP on that charge by the Walton County Sheriff's Office. He's 33 years old.
And deputies are still searching for 51-year-old Eric R. Arsenault, who's wanted for violation of probation for grand theft auto.
John Henry Bonner's been on here for a while as well. He's wanted by the Fort Walton Beach PD for grand theft and violation of the Pawnbrokers Act, as well as non-payment of child support.
And another familiar face to the show is Daniel Wesley Arthur, who's 34 years old. He's wanted for felony neglect of an elderly person or disabled adult, possession of controlled substance by misrepresentation, fraud, forgery or deception, and theft, last known to live in Fort Walton Beach.
Contact us if you know where to find Samuel Edward Thomas III. He's wanted for violating probation on charges of providing false information to a pawnbroker, false imprisonment, and grand theft. Thomas's last known address was in Shalimar.
And next up is 36-year-old Jennifer Dawn Nolan. She's wanted for violation of probation for possession, distribution of chemicals to make controlled substance, last known to live up in Crestview.
And here's a name we're not going to need to profile anymore. It's Jermaine Carl Tate, because Tate has been located since our last show.
But we're still looking for Tiffany Michelle Bennett, who's 38 years old. She's wanted for a violation of probation for possession of a controlled substance.
Also still on the hunt for 47-year-old Christopher Lloyd Kelly, wanted for larceny and last known to live in Seminole.
And the Walton County Sheriff's Office is looking for James Anthony Williams, and he's wanted for violation of probation for possession of a controlled substance, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia.
And wrapping up our list of wanted fugitives, Timothy Dwayne Hammonds, 36 years old, wanted for failure to appear for 3 counts of possession of cocaine, as well as possession of narcotics equipment. And Hammonds' last known address was in Santa Rosa County in Navarre. Well, you know, every April, Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers holds its annual and its major fundraiser, and it just seems to keep getting better. And I think the music this year really added a new element as well.
It does. This was the first year we actually had Dickie Doo and the Zydeco crew live band, and they came out and performed from 10 to 2. They were fantastic, and I think it definitely lent to the atmosphere of the whole crawfish boil. But we really want to thank the community and our sponsors for the community for coming out. We had the Mudbug Run. Of course, that started at 8 a.m. to benefit the OCSO Explorers, and they had over 300 runners this year. So that's a pretty amazing for the second year for that event.
Right.
And of course, this was, I believe, the 8th year for the actual crawfish boil. And we sold more than 1,500 pounds of crawfish, more than 250 pounds of shrimp. And of course, if you came at all, you could see that we couldn't even close the boxes. They were very generous portions. The Sunset Vets were out there with some beautiful Corvettes. We gave away a couple of prizes for that as well. To the folks who had what we thought was the coolest Corvettes. And Resort Quest actually brought out the Pirate Museum, which I know a lot of kids were enjoying that, to get to see that. So a whole lot going on this year, and just another great event. And I think each year it just gets bigger and bigger and better. And we couldn't do it without the generous donations from not only the public, but our sponsors as well, who sponsor this event. Because remember, Crime Stoppers is a 501c3 organization that does not receive any kind of taxpayer funding. So we rely on donations and, of course, events like this to do the fundraising.
And then Mother Nature always seems to cooperate because the weather was just
She
gorgeous. It's a little
does.
bit hot, but you know, I mean, that's better than rain. I guess it was
Right.
warm, but it was beautiful. And another thing that was really neat, if you love the canines the way we do, is that the OCSO, Tony Kelly, had canine Rico out there, who likes to stand on his back feet, as you'll see in some
Yes, he
video that
does.
we have coming up. But this was really just a great event, and I think that there are some people out there that missed it, but if you did, we've got a kind of a wrap-up video that features the Zydeco, Dickie Doo and the Zydeco crew too, to give you a look at what you missed, and you can always make it next year.
That's right. And of course, I do want to also thank the OCSO Explorers because they worked from literally 7 a.m. till almost 3 p.m. helping us shut things down. And of course, the Okaloosa County School Resource Officers were out there as well. So enjoy the video. If you didn't get out there, of course, we'll look forward to seeing you next year.
Wherever he laid his hand was his home, and when he died, all he left was alone. Papa was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hand was his home, and when he died, all he left was alone. How, 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 how. Hey, 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 hey. How, 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 how. Thank you, thank you. How, 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 how. Hey, 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 hey. How, 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 how. Hey, 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 hey. Do you feel alright? Do you feel alright? Do you feel alright? Do you feel alright? Let me hear you say yeah. Let me hear you say yeah. Let me hear you say yeah. Let me hear you say yeah.